Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursaleen. Fa'auzu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum students, a very warm welcome to your online course on Islamic studies. Today we will start section 2 of this course. Section 2 will throw light on the social, moral and religious landscape of Arabia before Islam. This section is divided into 3 parts: the pre-Islamic geographical and social landscape of Jaziratul Arab, the Jahiliyyah period, and the pre-Islamic religious landscape of Arabia. So let's begin. Located in the southwest corner of Asia, Jaziratul Arab is one of the biggest peninsula in the world. It is divided into 3 regions: northwestern region Hijaz, central region Yamama, southwestern region Yemen. In its west lies the Red Sea, and in its south is the Indian Ocean. In its east is the Persian Gulf, and in north it is surrounded by the Syrian desert or the Nufud Desert. It is the most fertile region that has been the seat of ancient civilizations in Arabian history. Among the ancient civilizations, the Semitic race occupies a special significance, as 3 major monotheistic revealed religions belong to Semitic race. Prophet Moses, peace be upon him, the founder of Judaism, Prophet Jesus, peace be upon him, the founder of Christianity, and Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the founder of Islam, all belonged to Semitic race. Semitic people migrated to different parts of the Fertile Crescent and became known as Sumerians, Babylonians, Assyrians, Phoenicians, and Hebrews. Pre-Islamic races in Arabia. Arabs were divided into 3 races: Arab Baida, Banu Qahtan, and Arab Mustariba. Arab Baida were the primitive Arabs to whom belonged the tribes of Ad and Samud. People belonging to Banu Qahtan were known as the Himyarites or the Yemenis and were known as the real Arabs. Arab Mustariba were the naturalized Arabs and the descendants of Prophet Ismail, the son of Prophet Ibrahim. The tribe of our beloved Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, belonged to Ismail group of Arab race. Almost 80% of Arab people were the dwellers of the desert. For this reason, they were known as Ahlul Baida or the Bedouins. They were divided into tribes, each tribe comprised of several clans, and each clan consisted of several families from a common ancestor. Arab society is patriarchal, and all relations are traced through the father or the male member of the tribe. The remaining 20% of Arabs dwelled in towns. They too were divided into tribes and patriarchal families. They used to do their trade or agriculture and were much richer, more cultured and civilized than Bedouins, and took leadership positions. The Jahiliyyah period. Jahiliyyah period, or the age of ignorance, is the period 2 centuries before the rise of Islam. This period presents the picture of Arab tribes and clans fighting against each other. Jahiliyyah wars were fought for years and years on petty matters. An example of Jahiliyyah war is the War of Basus, which began with the quarrel over a she-camel owned by an old woman. Her camel was wounded by the chief of Taghlib tribe, and as a result, she provoked her tribe Banu Bakr against Taghlib tribe. And the war broke between the two, which lasted for 40 years. Social and moral life in Jahiliyyah period. Jahiliyyah period witnessed many social vices among the Arabs, such as lying, breaking of promises, egoism, revengefulness, sexual vices, usury, wine drinking, gambling. This is mentioned in Quran in verse number 90 and 91 of Surah Al-Ma'idah.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا إن إنما الخمر والميسر والأنصاب والأزلام رجس من عمل الشيطان فاجتنبوه لعلكم تفلحون.
O you who believe, indeed, intoxicants, gambling, sacrificing on stone altars to deities other than Allah, and divining arrows are but defilement from the work of Satan. So avoid it, that you may be successful.
إنما يريد الشيطان أن يوقع بينكم العداوة والبغضاء في الخمر والميسر ويصدكم عن ذكر الله وعن الصلاة فهل أنتم منتهون.
Satan only wants to cause between you animosity and hatred through intoxicants and gambling, and to avert you from the remembrance of Allah and from the prayer. So, will you not desist? This all was the proof of their moral and ethical degeneration. Arabs of this period were ignorant of art and culture, except that they were well versed in poetry and language. Slavery. Patriarchal society of Arabs constituted of families and slaves captured as prisoners of war. Male slaves were put to work for tending the cattle, and female slaves were made domestic servants and concubines. Slaves are mentioned in at least 29 verses of Quran, and most of these are Madanin verses and refer to the legal status of slaves. Quran urges kindness to the slaves and recommends their liberation by purchase or manumission. The freeing of slaves is recommended both for the expiation of sins and as an act of simple benevolence. It exhorts masters to allow slaves to earn or purchase their own freedom. Women. As the Jahiliyyah practices worsened, so did the position of women. They were regarded as chattels who could be passed from one owner to another. Women had no rights, no status. Men were polygamous and could marry as many women as they liked and could divorce them at their will. Female infanticide was common and temporary marriages were frequent. Prohibited degrees of marriage was not known to Arabs, and the sons married their widowed stepmothers. Brothers inherited the widowed wives of their brothers, just like chattels, until Quran revealed the verse on prohibited degrees of marriage.
حرمت عليكم أمهاتكم وبناتكم وأخواتكم وعماتكم وخالاتكم وبنات الأخ وبنات الأخت وأمهاتكم اللاتي أرضعنكم وأخواتكم من الرضاعة وأمهات نسائكم وربائبكم اللاتي في حجوركم من نسائكم اللاتي دخلتم بهن فإن لم تكونوا دخلتم بهن فلا جناح عليكم وحلائل أبنائكم الذين من أصلابكم وأن تجمعوا بين الأختين إلا ما قد سلف إن الله كان غفورا رحيما.
Prohibited to you for marriage are your mothers, your daughters, your sisters, your father's sisters, your mother's sisters, your brother's daughters, your sister's daughters, your mothers who nursed you, your sisters through nursing, your wife's mothers and your stepdaughters under your guardianship, born of your wives, unto whom you have gone in. But if you have not, there is no sin upon you. And also prohibited are the wives of your sons, who are from your own loins, and that you take two sisters simultaneously in marriage, except for what has already occurred. Indeed, Allah is ever forgiving and merciful. Law of Prophet Moses prevailed among the Arabs of Jahiliyyah. In case of murder, qisas was practiced. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth was the prevailing law, and blood money or diyat equal to 100 camels was commendable.
وكتبنا عليهم فيها أن النفس بالنفس والعين بالعين والأنف بالأنف والأذن بالأذن والسن بالسن والجروح قصاص فمن تصدق به فهو كفارة له ومن لم يحكم بما أنزل الله فأولئك هم الظالمون.
And we ordained for them therein a life for a life, an eye for an eye, a nose for a nose, an ear for an ear, a tooth for a tooth, and for wounds qisas was practiced is legal retribution. But whoever gives up his right as charity, it is an expiation for him. And whoever does not judge by what Allah has revealed, then it is those who are the wrongdoers. Pre-Islamic Arabs practiced polytheism. They worshipped many gods and goddesses. They were familiar with the concept of Allah Almighty, but His worship was ignored. Every tribe had its own god or goddess. Lat, Uzza, Manat were the popular female deities. They associated these goddesses with various planets, and worship of these goddesses was widespread in Mecca. Several other religions like Judaism, Christianity, star worshipping, Zoroastrianism, Paganism was practiced. Christianity prevailed in northern Arabia and Yemen. Judaism spread in Hijaz and southwestern region of Yemen. Jews fled from the persecutions of Greeks and Roman rulers. Fire worshippers were mostly settled in eastern Arabia, which was under the influence of Persian Empire. These religions did not affect Jahiliyyah Arabs, as Christians continued to fight amongst themselves, and Jews were not eager to convert Arabs to their faith due to their exclusiveness. Jews believed that they were the chosen people, destined to rule the world. Religious life of Jahiliyyah period was under the darkness of superstition, idolatry, and degenerated forms of Judaism and Christianity. Conditions in India were also deplorable, as Buddhism was on decline and Hinduism was rising. This new Hinduism was caste-ridden and full of superstitious beliefs. Such was the religious landscape before the advent of Islam, but all this changed within the short span of one generation with the rise of Islam in 610 AD.